I'm with Dennis Nash, and we're about 5 miles outside of Pontypool.
Pontypool.
Yep. And you were working on a building site.
Yes.
In the late 1960s.
Yes.
And you unearthed something. So could you just tell us what year it was first, Dennis?
Well, I do believe it was like 67, early 68.
Right. Okay. And these are council houses that you were constructing, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's a place called, just tell me the name of the place.
7 View, Garndiffaith.
So it's Seven View, named after the fact that it's the view of the River Severn.
Yes.
Garndiffaith.
Garn.
Oh, Garndiffaith, okay.
Yeah.
So, just tell us what happened. Tell us what your role was on the building site first, and then tell us what happened.
Okay, well, before it was a building site, it was an allotment. It was open brown fields. Mm-hmm. So they passed the plans to build these all these houses and flats up on the site. Mm-hmm. I started there as a general labourer, so we more or less built half the houses, and I went in on the Monday morning, and we were supposed to be digging the footings to put a block of flats in this particular place. Mm-hmm. So we got down about 2 foot. And
were you using machinery to dig this out?
No,
or was it?
No, it was just shovels at first.
Shovels, right?
Right, it ended up with machines. Right. So we dug down about maybe 18 inches, 2 feet, and we had a sheet of lead. Mm-hmm. That none of us had ever seen anything like this before, right? So we cleaned all the earth off. That took us 2 days. And there was this massive sheet of lead, and it was probably in the region of 20 foot long by maybe 12, 15 feet wide.
So how did you know it was lead?
Well, it was lead.
Right.
You could
so it's obviously metal, you can tell.
Oh, yeah, grey, and it's soft, pliable. And,
right, all right. And what sort of thickness?
I was talking about an inch and a half thick.
Right. Okay.
Right, and what struck me at the time was all along the one side of this sheet of lead was all this strange, like hieroglyphic writing.
Right.
But us being Welsh boys, we just chopped it up and sold it for 40 quid at the scrapyard. It was just a little bonus for us.
Right.
Nobody questioned why it was there, or
Right. Okay.
So we dug this bit of lead up. The boss was off on holiday somewhere, and we got 40 quid for the lead. But then we found a big rock. So we started trying to dig this rock out, and we went down maybe 10 feet either side of this rock, and it was just getting wider and wider. Mm-hmm. And it sounds silly, but it was like an underground mountain, mm-hmm. right? So after a week now, they brought the diggers in, started jackhammering. We was on it a week, jackhammering at this thing, and we got down to about 2 foot below the original level of this mountain. And in the end, he had put the job back a fortnight, and the boss went off to see the council about it. And what they decided to do then was amend the plans, mm-hmm. right, where they covered this thing back over, mm-hmm. and it was the toughest rock you ever come across with. I mean, they had JCBs and all them big banging armour things. Couldn't shift it.
Right.
Took him a week to get like a foot of it off.
Right.
And he was just getting beyond,
So it's been suggested that this was a cone shape. Is that what you? Did it have a roundness to it, or was it flat-sided, or?
It was like the top of a pyramid, basically. With sheer sides on it, but they were just getting wider, and it was getting wider and wider and wider.
So flat sides, though.
Yes. Yeah, flat.
Like the top of a pyramid, but you didn't go down deep enough to find if it had a base or anything.
No,
it
was just going on and on and on. Like
so you've got the top of a pyramid, and on top of that, a lead slab, 1.5 inches thick by 20 feet by 12 feet or something.
Yes, right. Approximately.
With writing on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you remember what the writing was like?
No.
Could you compare it to anything that you know?
Yeah, the Egyptianish.
Egyptianish.
That kind. I mean, I was an uneducated oaf at the time.
Right.
You know, I had a job to read and write English, like.
Okay.
But it was just all funny writing on there,
right.
Basically, like, you know.
Okay.
I mean,
and I understand that you're the only person alive that was doing that work. Do you know of is there anyone else? Could we remember
No, they were boys from Caerphilly and Pontypridd and
right.
You know what I mean? So
and you were only 18 at the time.
I was only 18.
All right. So
I lived 100 yards away.
So how did you, when you sold it? How did you get it to the scrap merchant?
On the back of one of the wagons, just chopped it up into manageable size, like, and took it down to the scrapyard.
Okay. And how did you chop it up?
With an axe.
With an axe?
All right, okay. With an axe.
Okay. All right. Just a hand axe, yeah? And that was enough to chop up the lead?
So they were all rubbing that on us. I mean, this is like 46 years ago now or something like that.
Okay.
So £5 in them days was a week's wages, basically.
Right.
So the
total price that you got for it was?
About 40 quid.
Right. So, which is like, sort of, 8 weeks' wages or something like that?
Something like that,
Right. Okay.
But we were more concerned with chopping his lead up than any mystical anything like that. I wasn't even aware of UFOs in them days, you know.
Well, this isn't necessarily UFOs. It's an ancient. It sounds like it's some kind of archaeology.
Yeah.
Now, so the bosses then found out about this and had to change the plans of the whole estate. So
we tried digging this rock out of the ground. Just thought it was a bell stone, you know. And there's a lot of bell stones in Wales, you know, shaped like a bell. You usually find them down the pit.
Right. Now you said that you thought it had flat sides.
Yes.
What was the texture of the stone like, and what was the colour of the stone
it was
like?
Like flint. It was solid. It was browny. There was like a browny grey.
Right.
But it was so hard.
Okay.
I mean, they were smashing it with these big banging.
Okay. Like
on the back of a JCB.
Yeah. And it was
banging it, and just little chips was coming off. You know what I mean?
So adjacent to the actual whatever this thing was, this rock, was there just soil around it?
Yeah, it was an allotment.
An allotment.
It was an ex-allotment. Like.
All right.
I mean, I've been going there since I was like 2-year-old. We used to have our own allotment over there.
So, can you tell me how the decision was made to actually change the plans? Was there any of your bosses involved? Did you hear what
Well, it was all the council, you know.
Right.
The council was freaking out because it had gone like a fortnight over schedule.
Right.
And they was afraid of spending the money.
Right.
So in the end, they cobbled up this plant, they covered it back over, put a traffic island on it, and the actual block of flats that was due there, they moved like 50 feet to one side and built them.
Built them up. Yeah, because when you look at that traffic island, it is a bit odd.
Have you seen the traffic island?
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah. But that's the exact spot.
Right. And it's not a round traffic island. It's slightly triangular, isn't it?
A teardrop, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So underneath that island,
smack bang under there is that underground mountain.
Right. And would you say it was a 4-sided pyramid?
No. I'd say it was more 3.
It
might be 4, man. I am digging back now 46
But you think it had flat sides as opposed to a round cone?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. And so how much of the thing was actually broken off and damaged? I mean, was there a flat piece on the top where you'd taken
about 2 foot?
About 2 foot.
They got it below the minimal footings level. Right.
Yeah.
And that was it. They said, "Oh, we give up." We just digging and digging. He was down about 10 feet.
Right.
I tried to find the bottom with this thing so they could pull it, and it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
What's your own feeling as to what it might have been?
At the time or now?
Well, both. At the time, what did you think?
At the time, didn't care.
Right.
It was just I was getting paid to do a job, and we got a nice little bonus out of it. We got 40 quid out of it,
right.
And just over my head. But looking back now, with all the research I've done over the years with Tony and everything, definitely something there.
Right.
Definitely something that's out of the end. You know, they don't go moving blocks of flat 100 feet, and all the cost of that entails.
Now, the earth that you said was surrounding this rock seems to have been contained by some outer containing wall that was at the bottom, further down the bank.
Yes.
So
very fertile soil, black soil like.
So Anthony suggested that wall was built for a reason, to then fill in that area, which would have included this structure underneath.
No, that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
Because it's it's like countryside and natural, but the soil in the actual allotments, rich black soil. So like I would have thought before my time, but I thought it would have been brought in.
Right. And have you told many people about this?
No, not really. Told him.
Anthony. And when did you tell Anthony?
Anthony, or Tony.
In the
1987.
1987.
20 years after it occurred.
1987.
Yeah, we happened to be sat there talking one night, talking about I was developing an interest in UFOs and the mystical side of life. And I happened to tell Tony, and that was it. It just...
So, is there anyone still alive who's been told this story by you or by like the council or anyone else? Do you know?
No.
And what about the plans? Do you know if it would be possible to get hold of like the original plans and then the modified plans?
I would have thought so. I mean, the council don't throw anything away, do they?
Right. So if we could get...
the fact that they modified the plan, that there would have to be a written record of that somewhere.
A modification request.
Definitely.
Yeah. That might be something worth looking into, Anthony.
Yeah,
but,
I thought about this, I would guess.
Anthony's just saying that he thinks that they may well have all of the plans there, which should show two sets with the block of flats.
It definitely caused a bit of upset when they had to re-amend the plans. Like they had to get this building up, this huge block of flats. So all they did was move it 100 yards to one side, and what was left they backfilled and put the roundabout and the little road in there.
So that's directly under that little traffic island.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So this surrounding wall, which is an ancient wall, how high was the earth above that wall in that area?
Well, on the allotment side, I would say about 4 or 5 feet. And the other side, which is a local field called Bladen's Field, it was a good 9-10 feet.
Right, okay. And what about the surround? Because Anthony and I have been around that area today, and he's been pointing out all of these mounds further down that hill that he says are grave mounds. Have you looked at any of that sort of stuff in the surrounding area, and these walls that seem to go around the side of the hill?
The walls are very large. I mean, is that wall still there now?
The wall is still there.
You've seen it, have you?
But Dennis hasn't seen the grave mounds.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No.
Before you sort of did all of that building work, were there any other notable features either near that site or around where the allotments were?
No,
because Anthony showed us a map that's got this squarish structure on it from the 1800s, which isn't there now. It's not far from where the lead slab was found. Have you got that map, Anthony? Do you want to show, just to ask Dennis if he thinks he knows what this might be?
This is the allotment gardens. I don't know if the camera is picking that up.
Yes, it is, yeah.
That is whereabouts the lead slab was, okay? This is in 1962, this map. I do believe, just 5 years prior to this incident that Dennis is talking about, okay?
Okay, so you've got the lead slab mark there. So
there's an allotment gardens there.
Now if we move on to the older map, which is what year?
1880. This is the same area.
So this is a different map.
This is a different map, but this, where my finger is exactly where the lead slab would have been found, right there. That's the area.
It's not this footpath.
It's not an allotment gardens anymore.
That's
it's something, but the wall, that's the big wall. The big wall, there's the big wall on this map. This is the big wall in 1962 that was around the allotment gardens. At this end, the earth inside the wall was 9 feet higher than the earth or the surface of the field outside it, okay? Up by there it ran out to more or less nothing, but it ran up to 9 feet. So in this area there was about 3 feet of soil, 2 to 3 feet of soil above that lead sheet, yeah?
Okay, the lead sheet there is marked with that rectangle.
It wasn't as big, this is out of proportion.
Right, okay. So if we move to the older map now.
The same area has still got a wall around it, and you can bet your life that the soil inside there is still higher by 9 foot down this area. but it's not an allotment gardens at that
Was
point.
this suitable?
No, this building, this is what Richard is talking about.
So the lead slab was around about
Yes.
Yeah, the lead slab is round about there, but this building, I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
here. So there's something marked on this.
But that's gone, because if you look back
There's
towards,
a path going to it.
if you look, yes, there's another footpath from Top Road going up to it, so it could be some sort
See,
of,
there's the entrance there.
it could be a house.
There's the entrance to the allotments. Right, well, they hadn't even built the road in there.
Right.
If you look on this map
This
now,
road, yellow.
So it was just outside the entrance to the allotments then, this structure.
use the row of pine trees on this map, and the wall is clearly visible, okay?
Right.
The wall is, they're up against the wall almost, the pine trees.
Yep.
And if you come down, there's the entrance to the allotment gardens, yeah? Follow that line and you come to that building, so follow that line and you're more or less where these houses are today. So that building is gone and there are now council houses in the spot where that building was.
So really we need to find out what that rectangle is there with a footpath leading up to it. And
you've got this other strange footpath coming up in that direction
Yeah.
as well. They seem to converge on this place.
yeah, the other two footpaths are coming to where this pyramid-shaped stone is.
And here's another strange phenomena. This footpath stops at a wall. It doesn't make any sense. I would say that that footpath was there before this wall was.
Okay.
And like I said when we were out earlier on today, I think this path connected up with stuff in this area in the some point.